Hi everybody. This is a little introduction to this web page. We designed this web page to add some more information about Robert Kegan. He's the developmental psychologist whose work we're going to be reading in the first two modules of this class. And we picked working with Kegan mostly out of my interest. We use Robert Kegan as one of the primary texts in the human development class here at Antioch for pre-service students. And I have noticed over the 10 years or so that I've been teaching these classes here at Antioch that there's an interesting connection in my mind between Kegan's developmental psychology and Buddhist psychology, which we're going to be looking at further along in this class. So this is we've been talking about frameworks for understanding our experience and the experiences of our students, and we're hoping that this Kegan work provides yet another framework with which you might be able to look at your own journey and to have some insights into where your students may be. So in each of the videos below, I describe a couple of different stages in Kegan's theory. This is in companion to the chapter from this book, The Evolving Self, that you're going to be reading. My recommendation is that either you watch the videos here first and then read the chapter, or you read the chapter and then watch the videos and then maybe look back at the chapter. Also in the right-hand column on this page, there's some additional resources related to the different stages of development that Kegan describes that you can look at. The Evolving Self is a terrific book, but it's very academic, and it was written in part to solidify Kegan's reputation with his developmental psychology colleagues. And so there's a lot of language in it that's not directly relevant for our purposes, because he's trying to establish himself within a certain developmental psychological framework in a way that builds credibility academically. And so what I'm going to recommend to you as you read this book is that you do what my good friend and colleague Heidi Watts recommends, which is just read along. And if there are parts of it that don't make a lot of sense to you, don't worry too much about that. But if there's a part that resonates for you, then read that twice. That's what I recommend. And then to trust that together in our online courses, we'll be able, in our online course discussion, we'll be able to answer questions that you have. I'm going to have a forum specifically just for posing and answering questions, and for places for you to pull out parts of the text that you want us to discuss a little bit more. And then we're going to do a paired activity where you have a chance to explore in depth one of the stages that seem meaningful to you and why, and maybe some stories to illustrate what about those stages seemed helpful or useful to you. One last thing I wanted to say is in the videos below, you're going to hear some references to Berry Center for Buddhist Studies, because I made these videos at the time in which this program still had a residential component at BCBS. So those components are obviously no longer exist, and where you hear Berry Center for Buddhist Studies, please just substitute in our online course forum or whatever makes the most sense to you, because that's what we'll be doing. So I really look forward to spending some time engaging with you around this material. It's one of my favorite things to talk about with teachers, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to help you see, and you'll be able to make for yourself some connections between this and some of the Buddhist frameworks we're going to look at around personality development, and continuing our investigations into using these tools to help us be more present and aware in our teaching. Okay, enjoy.